start. The crazy face. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. So I think I put, so StreamYard wasn't working at all a moment ago. It was just giving me a 404 error. So we are here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So when things don't go as planned is something that I put up on the screen here, the description. Things have been not going as planned for me this morning, Todd.
Yeah, there have been some bizarre technical difficulties that are unexplainable at this particular moment. I'm sure the answers will be revealed sooner or later, but yeah, it's been kind of weird.
It's been really weird. Like everything that always goes really well is decided to be completely off. So write in the comments, have you had experiences like this?
What do you do when things don't go really well? Does that kind of thing happen every day? Does that kind of thing happen once in a while? Or does that kind of thing never happen?
Check the box.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So my energy right now is a little bit
Frazzled.
Frazzled
and Flummoxed. Episode 4. Frazzled and Flummoxed.
I know. What do I do, Todd?
Well,
so
just take a deep breath and giggle and play.
And giggle. Okay. Yeah. I think the frustration, so for me, just so, we can just play with this for a second here. Because one of the things that I've learned along the way with my own development has been just being really honest. And I think, yes, it's the technology part and there's something happening and that doesn't, I think it's things that are outside of my control. And when that happens, that feels bad. But usually it's what it means to the outside world looking in. And I've been working on this lately on my approval issues, because when I am finding that whatever thing that I'm doing is not working out well, I think it reflects poorly on me. And then that means then I turn that into making meaning. And then I say, oh, that means that I'm bad or I'm doing it wrong or I should have done it differently or whatever. But really, it's just problem solving. And I just do my problem solving a little bit louder than most people do.
Yeah.
I know every once in a while I scare Todd. I'm like, what's this? What's going on? And but not laughing about it. So if you've had that experience, please tell us in the comments. Do you guys have any kind of things that come up for you when things are going poorly and then you don't let me be alone in this, and then you feel like that just reflects badly on you when you work so hard, you try so hard, you do as much as you can to avoid any challenges or difficulties, and it just feels like things start to collapse. Do you have any of that stuff that comes up for you, Todd?
Sure. We have a comment.
Hi, Kenny Jaworski. Jaworski.
Kira is purely awesome, and Todd is also purely awesome. Well, that makes all this easier.
It does. It really helps.
Hi,
Eileen.
You're my daily vitamin.
Oh,
Vitamin
good.
K.
Vitamin K. Vitamin T. Combined, we are vitamin S. So yeah, do you guys have approval things that ever come up for you? My thing is totally approval. I am just approval seeking, and like my coach would say, praise whore.
Safety whore.
Praise whore. And that sounds really bad, but it's not. It's just, we want to be picked. We want to be liked. We want to feel like we're doing a good job. If any of you guys are perfectionists, I want to hear it. Don't let me be alone in this.
I think you're all alone in this.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Everybody has approval issues to some degree. If we care what anyone thinks in the slightest sense, we want to be loved,
Yeah.
And it's all indicative of the condition of the human mind, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's just accepting the condition and then going against the grain and working out of it. And it can be done. It can be done. You can make huge leaps out of conditioning through hypnotherapy and through personal development work, self-help. Absolutely, it can happen. And I think you asked me earlier, and the answer is yes. Yes, I've definitely had my share of approval issues to break out of and things like that. I think you had asked me generally, do you have that? And obviously that's true.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes it's hard to even become aware of the approval issues we have. We don't even understand things at a conscious level a lot of times. Instead, we just have a reaction, an emotional reaction, period. And we don't know why we're feeling that way. Sometimes it's unconscious, or subconscious, and it's always just guiding us without us even really becoming aware of even the feelings that might be involved. It's just choosing one thing over the other without even knowing why we're choosing that. And that's more subconscious kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then when it becomes more conscious, then you start to be able to have those feelings, and those feelings of discomfort or those feelings of fear or what have you. And we can't put words to them yet, but we are allowing them to direct our behavior, from anything to standing in a coffee line to crossing the street, or and just anything that feels discomforting. We tend to probably kind of go the other way, or avoid it if we can. And then if we address it poorly, maybe we confront it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can confront something constructively too. And then, so there's a whole lot to this.
Yeah. And I think, from the work that I've done, I can get to the core really a lot faster than I have in the past. One good thing is knowing what my core wounds generally are, and knowing what my approval seeking or different things generally are, because then I can get to the heart of the issue, instead of going, but it's just a stupid computer that's not working, or, oh no, it's just them, they're not doing the thing right, or this because some of parts of our business are reliant upon other parts of other people's businesses. Well, their business isn't working right, and it's like, well, why am I upset about it though? What's triggering me? What's creating that feeling? And it's, the truth is, because I am so convinced that if something goes wrong, it is all my fault. And eventually what it rolls down to, if we kind of, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean if it's all my fault? It means that I've done something wrong. What does being wrong mean? Well, being wrong means that I'm not good enough. Okay, what does not being good enough mean? Well, it means that I am a failure. And what does being a failure mean? That means I'm going to end up in a cardboard box, and whatever. So it's like, and then eventually death, or feeling unlovable. So it's working through that really quickly to find out what the core is, so that we can then shift it and say, well, is that true? No, of course not. I am totally lovable. I'm totally complete. I am totally in love with myself. I'm totally lovable to the people that come into my experience, to the best of my ability. Every once in a while, I have my moments. But ultimately, no, I'm lovable, and everyone is too. So, and whatever might be messing up in our experience, in our life, it's okay, because those things can be a function to help us understand our triggers better, Yeah. So that's something. Good
points. Good points. And remember, everything is happening for you, not to you. So we all have a highly individualized curriculum that's given, and that curriculum is especially evidenced by our reactions. to things. That tells us where our wounds are, whether they are minor or major. The major ones are easier to see, obviously, right? Those are more volatile reactions to things. And and just the more we can lean into it being recognizing, and that's the right word, recognizing that it's happening for you, not to you, then you can lean into it and say, wait a minute, this isn't something I have to defend. This isn't something that is threatening my survival. And well, unless it is, there's a gun pointed, then go the other way. But emotional things, things that we are defensive and reactive to. I mean, it's all information gathering, it's all information gathering, and then drill down on it. Like she said, what am I making this mean? If you remember yesterday or previous episodes, not only did we say, what was it? We said, like, if I spot it, I got it, right? So if you're seeing it, it's happening for you. And oh man,
that's okay.
It just slipped my mind.
I did think of one thing. Oh no, now I'm gonna lose my thing too.
Okay. Prepaid. Set the intention.
Oh, I'm not upset for the reason I think I am.
Yeah.
For that one helps me key in when I'm upset to then start looking for the real truth, the real thread, the real difficulty, the real problem. I'm like, okay, wait. So if I'm upset, it's not because I'm got to that place of true meaning for me yet. I'm upset because I have something else going on and I need to find out what that is. And once I find out what that is, then I can heal it and love on it and get loved around it and have a communication with somebody. We can't live in this vacuum where we don't, where we say, I can figure this out on my own. Just like Einstein said, the mind that created the problem isn't the same mind that's going to solve it, essentially. Because we need that outside influence and information and all that kind of stuff to come in so that we can get to the core. Otherwise, we're going to keep making the same meaning out of the thing that we've been experiencing. So I just want to shout out here to Gigi. Hi, Gigi. Hello. And then hi, Kenny. Yep. Instantly ready for people to reject you. I get it. Yep. And Eileen, pressure of looking good, fawning, conditional fear of looking bad. And it's when you own a business, I remember being so wound up and so uptight about making sure I said everything perfectly. And even though I did, I never really said anything bad or did anything bad, but there was always this fear, like if I'm out somewhere, and about, then I can't drink or I can't do, I can't say anything. I'll tell you a quick
that was
story.
Me too.
Yeah. Sure. We were, So instead we just ate everything. So I think that's one of the things we did to cope with our stress. But, I remember I had on a magnetic sign. So I got my, ordination when I was doing my Reiki and stuff like that. So it was Reverend Kira Schaefer. Well, at that time, Reverend Kira Clark. And so I had this magnetic sign on my door in Asheville, and it said that, and it was, come to me for Reiki and stuff like that. So I'm driving around. You guys know where I'm going with this. And I'm like cussing at the car in front of me. And I think to myself, oh my God, I've got Reverend written on the side of my car. So guess what I did? I took the Reverend off because I just could not own that at all.
Tough stuff.
Lesson learned. But I don't know where I'm going with any of that. So that's all unscripted.
Well, locking yourself into a role really puts conditions on how people perceive you, and the ego has to manage and defend that kind of thing. And it's like, well, dang, I can't do that, or I don't want to do that. So it just takes your freedom away and that was too much to manage at that particular time, you know. Gosh, I've been there too in a number of ways.
I think the main thing is just showing up as your authentic self is really important. And understanding. So for me, when the wheels fall off of things, is understanding that I'm not upset because the wheels fell off of things. Just to go back to that original point, I'm upset because of how it makes me feel about myself.
I remember what I forgot.
Oh, great.
It's not what happens. It's what you think about what happens.
Yeah.
Right. So if you didn't have any judgment about the reverend thing, because if you didn't have judgment about cussing as a reverend, which you think is unlovable or unacceptable, then you wouldn't have taken that thing off the truck. You would have taken the magnet off the truck.
Yeah.
Or you would have been okay with,
I'm owning this.
Or you would have
I'm
been
the cussing reverend.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you would have owned it.
Yeah. So tell us.
Yeah.
Got anything? Any wheels falling off? We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. And if you're going to be working with clients as a hypnotherapist, yes, you do want to be professional, but you don't want to be stuffy or pretentious, you know,
No.
Because a lot of people, myself included, I have been the poster child for pretentiousness, at least in my head. And as a recovering perfectionist, I know that, you know, when you try to be perfect because you have a fear of being unlovable or unacceptable, that's where that perfectionism is often comes from. Then the side effect is that other people don't feel good enough in your presence because they sense that they have to be perfect too. Or they're just not good enough. Like if they sense that you trying to be good enough because you don't feel lovable, equates to them somehow not feeling good enough also. You know what I mean? Even though you're not, as the perfectionist, you're not necessarily projecting that out. You're just in fear and just trying to be good enough and fear of loss of approval, yada, yada. Yeah. And the net effect, the side effect from other people is that they sometimes may feel like, oh man, I don't feel like I'm good enough. And I know I've done that. I know I've done it a lot of times by accident and sometimes on purpose to get a power hit off of it. Definitely not any time lately. I'm talking about, you know, before we started doing some of the real pointed work on our this is before I was even a hypnotherapist, but I know it's happened, you know, and you know, that's the ego trying to play the getting game of praise, power, pleasure, safety, you know. But yeah, it's to weave it back, it's like the initial memory point was it's happening to you or happening for you, not to you, and to use it. And what was the thing I just remembered? Oh, my ego is playing a game with me.
I know, it really is. It's
I'd have to rewind, but I can't, you know.
Yeah. It's I think.
Can anybody tell me what it is that I remembered? That I remembered, then I said it before I went into the perfectionism stuff.
Yeah. It was it's what you think about how you feel.
Thank you.
It's not. Write it down.
Write it down. It's not what happens that matters. It's what you think about what happens that matters.
We're just going to pause here for a moment so we never forget this again.
Good. Yeah.
That was great. Kenny's has a comment here. Oh, it's not what happens. It's what you think about what happens that matters. Yeah. And it's you're not upset for the reason you think you are. And to me, it's really taking a moment, taking a step back. So when you're working with a client who comes in and says, this person is doing that to me, and that person is doing this, and this bad thing is happening to me, and all this world part is falling apart on me right now. It's like, but you're not upset for the reason you think you are. And so, you know, it's not about the thing. It's about what you're thinking about the thing.
Yeah, it's not about all events are neutral.
It's about the drum that you're beating.
It's about the reaction. you have to those neutral events, right?
Mhm.
Because in theory, somebody else
All events are neutral.
might not have, who is not you and doesn't have your conditioning, could be in that same situation and have a completely different reaction or no reaction whatsoever.
Right.
So it just basically proves that, you know, it's about what you think about it that is causing a reaction, which is from conditioning and programming and things like that. Unintegrated emotions, you know, wounds that we're still carrying around, which shows up as our sunburn when we get triggered by something and we have a reaction, and that reaction may be soft, small, or it might be massive. You know, it just depends on the type of thing. And I have had plenty of both. Even the people who love me most dearly have said, you know, sweet, tender, sensitive, loving guy, a little rough around the edges. And then, or no, rough and tumble, you know, which even when I first heard that from one of my best friends, from her, she said, when she said that, my ego still took it as kind of a compliment, like, oh yeah, I'm rough and tumble. I'm rough and tumble. And that was how, this is good. And that's how my ego framed things, especially in my 20s. Like anything that I was defiant or resistant to, what or had a wound about, I made an identity on top of, which is like, oh yeah, well screw them, you know, or that, and it's just that projection. It's that projection.
It makes you feel better temporarily, but the truth is that that's not the thing that's upsetting you, really.
No.
It's going down the line.
A lot more years of therapy to get to that. Well, I didn't have to take that long, but it was the willingness to see it, and the ego so does not want to own its guilt. It's constantly going to project guilt forward or outward. And
it doesn't want to consider itself.
Because
the moment it does, the moment that your client partners with you, the moment that your client is willing to see that that's not the thing they're really upset about, the ego has no foothold. It has no foothold, because really only love is real. So it's the only thing that can exist in that moment to say, okay, well, there's actually hurt under there. There's actually a thing that you're believing under there that's not real. And that has been taking your power away.
Right.
So it's really, it's a fascinating.
And where two or more agree, the ego cannot stand. So,
right.
So when you partner with someone, and you do this all the time, you don't have to know anything about therapy to do this. You do this naturally with your friends. Like, you have your best friends, people you trust, and you know when you're going to a friend for approval, right? Or a specific type of friend who just gives you that yes answer.
Love those.
versus when you go to a friend who you know is going to tell you the truth. And maybe that's the same person, maybe not. And telling the truth, you know what it's like to have a truth conversation. It's like, a friend, I really need to tell you something. I really need to admit this, because you feel safe enough to do so with that friend. And you do this all the time with your closest friends, and they know when that's happening because you're so close and you understand each other, and that friend knows how to be there for you and help you as best as they can. Sometimes it's just listening, sometimes it's giving advice. Depends on the friend, but truth telling is natural, and I think especially for feelers, it's a necessary part of helping ourselves to process the guilt and get loved around the parts where we do feel guilty. So.
I went through a whole list of friends. I had a recent issue come up. I went through a whole list of friends, and they all agreed that I did the right thing. They all agreed I did the right thing, but I still felt bad. And I was like, well, if I did the right thing, why do I feel bad? So then I had to go and pull on all the right threads to figure out how, and Carolyn helped me with it, Todd helped me with it, to find out what was really upsetting me. And it had nothing to do with being right. You can be right all day long, but still feel bad about the situation. And so it was cool because I was able to move through it in a different way. And I think that we can be right. You can be right, but still feel bad. So partnering with somebody who isn't just going to tell you to do the right thing is also a good thing as well.
Yes, and doing the right thing is a good thing to aim for, but I think it has a little bit more of a social component to it, and doing the right thing can help you to feel better, but it doesn't automatically mean that you are resolving the trauma or the wound.
Because we're not upset for the reason we think we are. It's not the thing. So it's, I mean, deep work for this. I think it's deep work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We know what it's tied to, and
yeah,
the nature of those types of wounds and such.
Kenny says, I'm often ready to retreat, that panic feeling in a new situation. Yeah, I get that. I often do that too. And it's because the brain is not necessarily equipped for the unknown.
Yeah.
Its set point is to yesterday. And if you add a new situation, sometimes it'll just go back into its conditioning and say, how do we handle a new situation the last time? And then it'll bring up that information, and then that may or may not be helpful or resourceful.
Right.
So that's normal.
If it's a new situation, you don't have anything for it.
All
you have is your past that you're bringing to it, subconsciously, unconsciously, and our reactions, And Gail says, I made myself invisible, and as in I shrink and get quiet. Oh gosh, totally. Yeah, me too. I mean, I used to do that a lot more. I was pretty sensitive as a kid, really sensitive to energy, probably because of my wounds and because I'm an INFJ. So we're feelers.
And she is too.
And so is Gail. Okay, so you relate. And Kenny had said, often ready to retreat, panic feeling, new situation. Reminds me of the first time I talked to girls. They talked to me and said, "You're cute," and I went, "Ah!" And I just ran away. But yeah, very scary. Yay, Carolyn! 1, 2, 3. That's the universal greeting for hello, Carolyn.
Hello, Carolyn.
Yeah.
I just mentioned you, Carolyn, actually, just
like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Just acknowledging your help that you gave me the other day.
This is fun.
It is fun.
It's a good topic.
It's a great topic.
I feel like it's
I feel so much better, actually.
I feel like we're getting into the meat and potatoes. I really love, I love these topics, but I also love that they're meaningful. It's
you can feel free to talk about it.
It's transformational. That's what I love. I love how transparent I can be about all this stuff. Like all the work that I've been doing lately has vacuumed out my ego more, so I can say more of these things without feeling like, oh God, what did I say? I said too much. It's like that stuff's going away more, and I'm so thankful for that because then we can provide more value.
Yeah,
so,
we hope.
We hope.
We hope. And Chantel would say, no, you are.
No, you are. No, you are. Well, you provide the most value as possible. In my opinion, you provide massive value when you get honest and transparent with people. It's if you show people that you're real, then they know that they can relate to you. And in a therapeutic setting, you're not supposed to process with your clients per se, but in a therapeutic setting, when you're, honest and open and not being a pretentious, self-important person, that would feel less good to people,
Right.
So
I was, most of the time when people would see like the hypnotherapy ad type Kira, back in the day, my ads were like very more straight-laced and very whatever. And I looked at one of our old commercial things and it was awful,
very awful,
and I was like, oh, it was cringeworthy. But when I would get in session with them, they would be like, oh my God, you're real, you're down to earth, you're fun, you're funny, you cuss. My teenage clients loved it. Yeah. And their parents would always be in there and they'd be like, oh my God, how are you talking to her? And she's just talking to you like a normal person. My kid doesn't ever talk to me, and that's not to be pretentious. It's just that authenticity that you bring to your clients makes all the difference because they've been scared, they've been scaring themselves too. And when you sit there with them and you're like, yeah, I scare the crap out of myself too, but you don't have to. So let's work through it.
The mark of competency, to at least an extent, the mark of competency is being comfortable in your own skin about that thing, so you being comfortable in your own skin and while being competent just shows that you're not afraid and you want to be open. And we were both like that as hypnotherapists, one-on-one, because INFJs do best one-on-one. And then it takes time to develop the I don't know, I don't want to say thicker skin, that's the wrong analogy, but it takes time to get more comfortable being yourself with more and more and more people on a larger scale, because there's not anything to be afraid of. There's nothing to fear. And as you integrate your fears, they drop off. And then what happens is your natural self becomes your natural expression. The person you've always wanted to be just naturally happens. That's the best part of integrating fears.
Yeah. Cool. Real work, good stuff, more value, more, please.
Real work, good stuff, real value, more, please. Real good stuff. It's like a cheer.
You are.
Need some pom-poms.
Oh, man. Namaste. Namaste. This has been great. I feel refreshed.
Yeah.
I came to this feeling very frazzled, but working through it here, I feel a lot more at ease.
You told the truth about it.
Yeah.
And we told the truth about situations like these. And I think that's very refreshing because it comes down to ground zero and it's very joining, And
everybody has this.
Everybody has this, right? Yeah. No matter where you are and your personal development, the truth feels good, and honesty and connection and joining things is something we all yearn for, and we need that nourishment, and it hurts if we don't get it, if we're isolated. So making time for connection is important, and making time for real conversation, especially if you're a feeler, very important, because we want, most feelers want to join, they want to connect and share. And if you're into the psychology or spirituality, that's times two, and as having that, wanting that need to be fulfilled for joining. So it's a wonderful thing to provide. It's special. It's fun.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
I need you guys, and connecting with you here is wonderful. Yes, it is. And Aline says, I needed that laugh so much. Thank you, vitamins K and T. Needed.
We're gonna get t-shirts.
Vitamin T,
vitamin K.
Yeah, the letter people.
I just want to, and then we'll wrap up here. Just want to say, so I make myself, so you had already mentioned this, Todd, but also to, just so you know, Gigi, same here. I make myself invisible and shrink and get quiet. We can also reframe that a little bit and saying, I become more aware of what other people are experiencing. Instead of I shrink, you can sit quietly and watch, pay attention, absorb, and do it in that way maybe. And then instead of saying I'm less than, say I'm observing.
Yeah. Change the language around it. That's hypnosis right there.
Yeah. I enjoy observing.
NLP as well. Yeah. Or instead of saying, God dang it, why do I do that? You switch it around and just say, follow it up with, you know what? I'm in the process of figuring that out. And then your mind doesn't hear you say a judgment, instead it's okay, great, we are learning this. And then the mind will produce more opportunities to support you in that, instead of more opportunities to validate your self-criticism.
All right. Yeah.
So saying, how you want it to say, reframing things for yourself out loud. Doesn't matter how much you got upset or criticized yourself prior to, just follow it up with, you know what, I'm figuring this out, but blah, 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 blah. But you know what, I'm figuring it out, and that's okay.
Yeah. And that's okay.
I'm a work in progress, and that's okay.
Yep. Yeah. I like that. That's a great way to end our time. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
This was a good one.
This is great. Check us out at hypnotherapyschool.net. Join us for enrollment. Our enrollment starts, it's already started, and it will be closing December 1st. We do have a 20% discount happening right now. So please go and check us out. Fill out the enrollment application. We want to help as many of you guys to get out there and start working with other people. And if not, working with yourself and working with your own mind as well. So we'd love to have you join us.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you again tomorrow at 11:11, probably.
Yep.
Take care.